We're going to do something fun today. I think it's fun because it doesn't take a lot of brain power to do it. It's just a lot of hammer and vise work, a little bit of heat. We're going to replace the U-joint. I'm going to show you how I've been doing it so that I don't have a problem. First thing I want to do is I want to heat up these surfaces. This U-joint, here's a brand new one we got here. This U-joint, if you look at them, the little needle bearings in there. This one comes with a grease cert. If you can get them with a grease cert, I love them that way because that way that grease cert, they're hollow in here and the grease flows down through this zert area. Sometimes the zert's installed here, but then that way it comes out and it lubricates those little needle bearings. Because you over time, especially on trucks and things like that, you get water intrusion past this little seal here, this rubber seal, and they rust out, and that's why this one's being replaced. It's actually gone bad. I like to light a torch. Just get rid of all this black smoke. Just turn your acetylene up till that black smoke's gone, and crack your oxygen. That's the way you light a torch, everybody. It ain't rocket science. Now I'm going to heat up these flanges. You don't want to get it too hot, and you don't want to heat it up forever either, because what you're trying to do is just heat up the outside circle so that inside cup for the U-joint will come right out of there. Let's see if we got enough. Whoa, you got to be quick. Okay, then we'll go to the other side, do the same thing. Come on, there it is. Now we got to do the other side. Okay. Okay, and quickly. Or you will barbecue your fingers, and it ain't no fun. Woo! Okay, let's see what's wrong with this U-joint. Every one of these is wore down this shaft. I'll show you the new one here in a minute. To see the difference is the whole shaft here, there's no wear. You don't see any wear. But on this one, you can see where the wear lines happened here. And that's the needle bearings are from here to here on the old joint. Now I've destroyed the cups taking this out. All the needle bearings are gone in there, but those needles, over time, because of the lack of lubrication and the intrusion of water up in that joint, has caused that wear. So what'll happen is a mechanic will grab this, and it's supposed to be a tight joint, and there's slop in it. And we're gonna get rid of all that. Okay, so the next thing is we wanna clean out these cups. We just wanna buff them out because we wanna make sure that the new cups that we're gonna install slide in there real good. So right now I'm going to take this out to my sandblaster and I'm going to blast these cups. So let's go do that now. We're going to go sandblast these yokes.
So this machine is our soda blaster. It shoots sodium bicarbonate really fast through high pressures to blast away any rust or old debris and clean up our materials.
soda blast this. We didn't do a sandblast. And I got a few nicks in here that I want to clean up. So let me get a rat tail file and I'll clean that up real quick. See that one right here? Not much of one. Just want to knock that off, that little burst, so that it doesn't give us any grief pressing that new cup in there. Boy, that's retainer. They put this like a, I want to call it a wax, but I know it's not a wax in the old, the original U-joints in those grooves. That's why I heated that up to melt that stuff. And it's like hard as a rock. As long as it's not in my way, I don't care much, because on these new U-joints, the replaceable ones, what they give you usually is a bag of clips. I'll show you how to put these in, but I'll show you where the little groove is in the U-joint housing. And with this, where this will sit is right in here in that groove. So when we put that cup in there, that'll be the retainer. And I'll show you what we're trying to do. We don't want any of these needle bearings to fall out, and we don't want them to get pinched when we put that in there. Because if you grabbed one of those needle bearings, I'm gonna knock one over just for purposes. If I knock the needle bearing over like that, and I try to put that in there, it would knock that needle bearing down and bend it, and all of a sudden you'd be together, pressed together, and it wouldn't be like, hey, let's just take it apart and fix it. You'd be getting another U-joint, and you got to do the job all over again. So make sure that's all in there nice and lined up like that. Because I'm going to press one of these cups in, just a little ways, not too much. I'm not going to hammer on it. I'm just going to lightly use my vise. I could go use an arbor press, but I kind of like a vise. I can kind of feel it all. I'm going to get that flat. I'm not going to cock this cup, and it's going to just want to go in just like that. See that? Nice like that, okay? Now, I'm going to want to let me take all the cups off my U-joint and keep a clean rag here. Take the rest of my cups off there, set them aside, watching the needle bearings don't fall out, like that. Now I'm going to install this one on this side. So we're going to slip it in there like that. Then we're going to come around here like this, and then I'm going to get it all the way on there, watch this, and drop it in there. So now I know those needle bearings in that cup, they're not going to go anywhere. Now let's go ahead and go the rest of the way. Right up against that yoke, like that. Now I'll take a socket. It's about that size, small enough to pass through there, because I have to go just a little further. There we go. Okay. Now sometimes, let me show you what a good vise is for. Now this is a forged steel vise. This is a $1,000 vise. But what a good vise is for is this right here. You put a little tension on it, and then you can wag it like that. Got to go just a little more to get that pin in there. So let me go just a little more. I can put that clip in there now. Don't let that U-joint fall over. Come on. Okay, that one side is retained in that groove. Okay, now we're going to go to the other side. Now, this is where it kind of gets tricky, so let me show you here. We want to slide this out a little bit, but we don't want to pull it all the way out of the needle bearings, because we don't want any of those needle bearings falling over. But we do want to come out a little bit, and the reason we want to come out a little bit is we want to catch those needle bearings and get them all lined up so that that shaft, the center U-joint, will slide in between both of those, just like it's doing right there. You see that? Now I know that I'm not pinching any of those needle bearings. I'm going to go over the top like that now and push it this way. But why push it that way? This is the trick. You do not want, see how that slides in between? So I know I'm lined up on the needle bearings inside that cup, and I'm lined up in the needle bearings on that cup. And I just go out far enough so that I'll catch this and then it'll all slide together. There is a little bit of finessing involved in doing this. That's kind of why I like it. There's an element of risk here. See how that's sliding in between the two? Now that did not snap down into that. I didn't hear that click into there, so I'm gonna do this. I gotta drive that down just a little more. Let's just use a vise and knock that clip in there. It's close, but it ain't just right. Now that clip's in the groove. We're good to go on that side. Nice and smooth. We'll do the other side. This is important. I didn't talk about this. You'll notice I know everybody out there that does U-joints. What you don't want to do is you don't want to grab the drive line here in the tube. This is a hollow tube, not very strong. And if you crush it and these weights here, this drive line has been balanced. You'll have a problem when you put it back on the car. You might end up with vibration. Clamp it on the yoke. You'll see that I'm not really even touching the tube. I'm clamping it here on the yoke. Same thing here. All our needle bearings are nice and straightened out. None of them are falling over. We're going to start it off straight. And we want it to go straight. Okay. Now, I got to drop this yoke in here. And remember, I do not want any of those needle bearings to fall over. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up through here and come this way. And then down on the other side, I'm going to drop that down in there all the way, boom, just like that. So I know I'm all lined up and I'm not going to have any problems. Same thing, we just want to keeping our yoke in there. Okay. Same thing on this side. Nice and easy. Now don't let your yoke, pay real close attention. I don't want that yoke to fall out of there yet. I just want to tilt it a little bit, get my retaining clip in there. There you go. Okay, now this is the last one. You don't want to mess it up at this point. Okay, we're going to put that cup in there as far as we can, just with finger pressure. Keeping it straight. Don't let it bind. You want to go in there straight. And now we're going to let this U-joint slide over to the other side, and you'll feel it once you catch those other clips, like right there. Now a lot of guys, you know, they'll think they're good enough, they'll want to grab a hammer and they'll want to tap that in. Don't do that. You run the risk of those needle bearings falling out of there, being tapped on like that. So we're going to take this yoke, put it back up here in our vise. I like to keep everything in the center of the vise. You don't want to try clamping out here. It twists your vise. It doesn't keep you as straight as you want. Wait a minute. Just barely clamp it. Okay. Hang on. Okay, now clamp it. Let her rip. Hang on. Loosen it up. Go ahead and loosen it up. Loosen up. I got to get a socket in there. Always nice to have a helper. This is my son, Joey. Joey, say hi.
Hi, Joey.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Loosen up just a little bit. Okay, go ahead. That's good. That's probably good. Loosen up. See my groove there? I'm past that groove for putting my retaining clip. Thanks, son. There you go, everybody. A U-joint that's smooth as silk. And come in here closely. Now there's no play. What we'll do just before we finish it up, we'll get our grease gun, needle grease zert gun, and we'll grease this joint up so we get just a little bit of grease that oozes out of these pockets. That way you know you're nice and packed, and this thing is good to go. Thanks, everybody.